Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the channel. Happy Wednesday, everybody. I hope your day and your week are going well so far. We got a new day, which of course means a new MLB Player Prop video to share with you guys. But first, as always, people, please make sure to hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, and drop a comment down below. It helps the channel grow, and it really does mean a ton to us. We are on the road to 100,000 subscribers. We are just shy of 88,000 at the time of recording. Our goal is to get to 100,000 before the end of the year. A lot of people are saying we can't do it. I think we can, but we need your help. So if you haven't already, guys, please consider hitting that subscribe button down below. With a new day, guys, comes a new opportunity to go ahead and make some money. I've got 4 picks to go ahead and share with you guys in today's MLB slate, and we've got absolutely no time to waste. So let's jump right in to today's picks. Like I said, guys, no time to waste. We're jumping right into the Outlier screen. Shout out to Outlier for being the best sports betting tool on the market. If you want to check it out, we do have a special link down below in our description that gives you guys a 7-day free trial. All the data that you're going to see in today's video and all my player prop videos is available to you when you use the link down below. After your 7-day free trial, it's $19.99 a month. But again, if you're making smart sports betting choices, which you should be if you're using Outlier, it should pay for itself in theory. So go ahead and make sure to check out that link down below in the description one more time. 7-day free trial to try it out for yourself. All right, our first of 4 picks in today's slate. We're targeting the Dodgers-Marlins game, 6:40 p.m. first pitch. We're going Otto Lopez here of the Miami Marlins, over half a strikeout. Been watching my videos all year long. You know this is a prop that I've definitely gone back to again multiple times this season. We're getting this for -120 on Underdog and -125 on BetMGM. And the data is solid here, guys. You see 8 of his last 10 games, he has cashed this over. An average of 1.1 strikeouts per game over the last 10 games. And specifically 8 of his last 9 games. You want to narrow it down a little bit more. 8 of his last 9 games, he's cashed the over. Even if you go ahead and stretch the data out now to the last 20 games, a 65% hit rate. 13 of his last 20 games, he's cashed the over, averaging 0.85 strikeouts per game. There's a reason I keep going back to this prop over and over, and it's because he's been cashing it all year long. You see a 56% hit rate on the over this year for Otto Lopez, with an average of 0.69 strikeouts per game this season. So really solid numbers there, and if you still aren't convinced here, the head-to-head data also very solid. Each of his last 2 meetings with the Dodgers, including their meeting last night, he's cashed the over. He actually struck out 2 times yesterday versus the Dodgers. So pretty good numbers there, and look at the insights provided by Outlier. Again, like I mentioned, Otto Lopez has exceeded half a strikeout in 8 of his last 9 games, an average of 1.2 strikeouts per game over those last 9 games. And now the key matchup stats down below. We don't have a ton to go off because we don't have any pitching data in there. But looking at Otto Lopez this year, 260 batting average overall with an 18% strikeout rate versus right-handed pitchers, which he's going up against tonight. Knack is pitching for the Dodgers. 276 batting average and 267 plate appearances off of right-handed pitchers. You do see a slight decrease in that strikeout rate, 17.2. So across the board, the numbers aren't as good as you'd like them to be. But looking at the numbers for Knack here, Landon Knack, not bad. Not a ton to go off of. He's only pitched 56 innings this year for the Dodgers. 2-4 record, 3.7 ERA, 8.68 strikeouts per 9, though, which is pretty good. So no head-to-head data here. Not really a ton to go off with the pitching matchup, but again, doesn't look like a terrible matchup there. Again, just 1.09 walks plus hits per innings pitched. Again, that 8.68 strikeouts per 9 is a decent mark. He's just been cashing this all year long, so I feel very comfortable going ahead and riding with this spot. And guys, the best odds for that pick was by Underdog. And if you want to go ahead and bet that prop, -120 Underdog, we do have a special offer for you guys here through our friends at Underdog. That's right. Guy Boston Sports, Underdog Fantasy, we are partners in this thing, and we have a special offer to go ahead and share with you guys. New customers deposit and get up to $1,000, not $100,000. That'd be a really good offer. Up to $1,000 in bonus cash when you use our link down below. It really doesn't get more simple than that, guys. You use the link down below, you make a first-time deposit as a new customer, and you can get up to $1,000 in bonus cash. That's just free money to go ahead and throw on bets and keep making more money. So if you guys are interested in betting that Otto Lopez over half a strikeout prop for -120 odds on Underdog, and you haven't used Underdog Fantasy before, consider using the special offer down below. Place your bet, and honestly, you can use some of that bonus cash on that Otto Lopez bet. So it's basically like a free bet, a no-sweat bet, if you will. Special thank you to Underdog for giving our community, our Guy Boston Sports followers, viewers, that special offer. And thank you to Underdog for partnering with Guy Boston Sports. All right, guys, getting back to this picks. Our second pick in today's slate, we're targeting the Red Sox-Rays game, 6:50 p.m. first pitch. We're going Jarren Duran over 1.5 bases. Now, this is definitely a risky prop here, but you know I like to throw my plus money plays in here every now and again. This is available on BetMGM for +100. Also available at DraftKings -105, DraftKings -105. It's available on pretty much every sports book here for varying odds. And it's plus money or even odds because, well, the data is not very good of late here. Just one of his last 10 games has Jarren Duran cashed the over. He's averaging 1 total base per game, but these extra base hits are multiple hit games. They haven't really been happening for him lately. Even though his last 20 games, they 20% hit rate. 4 of his last 20 games, he's cashed the over. He's averaging 1.45 total bases. Again, there's a couple of big games that kind of skew the numbers there. He's getting hits. You see a lot of games with 1 base, a lot of singles from Jarren Duran lately, but not a lot of extra base hits coming from him. So the recent data may not be great, but the overall data actually isn't all that bad. 48% hit rate on the year, 71 out of 149 games this season for Boston. He's cashed the over, averaging 2.1 total bases per game. Prior to this last 20-game stretch, he'd been cashing it pretty consistently all year long. And look at the head-to-head data versus Tampa Bay. Now, on the overall surface, it doesn't look great. You see just a 42% hit rate versus the Rays in their last 12 meetings. 5 of his last 12 matchups versus Tampa Bay, he's cashed the over, averaging 2 total bases per game. Now, looking at it from this year's perspective, he's actually been doing pretty good. He's played the Rays 8 times this season. He's cashed the over in 5 out of 8 meetings with Tampa Bay. Going into last night's game, he had actually cashed it in 5 consecutive matchups dating back to May of this season. May 15th, May 16th, May 20th, May 21st, May 22nd. So in the month of May, a lot of cashes versus Tampa Bay. But the point being, he had cashed it in 5 consecutive meetings with Tampa Bay. Going into last night's game, he was held hitless last night in what was an 8-3 loss for Boston. So the head-to-head data, although overall may not look great, it actually hasn't been terrible. Again, 5 out of 8 this year. He's cashed the over more than half the time he's played them. Again, the insights provided by Outlier not going to do us any favors here. Jarren Duran has failed to exceed 1.5 bases in 8 of his last 10 games on the road, 1.3 bases per game average. So again, not very fantastic. Now looking at the head-to-head matchup, a very small sample size. Jarren Duran just 2 plate appearances versus the Rays pitcher. I don't even know how to pronounce the name. Ryan Pepois. I think it's French. Pepois. We're gonna go with that. We're gonna go ahead and rock with Pepois and hope that's it. It's probably not. It's probably Pepiot. I don't know. We're going to go ahead and rock with Pepois and assume that he's French, even though it's definitely not Pepois because IOT. Pepiot. I don't know. I'm not good with names. What can I say? Jarren Duran, though, his numbers look pretty good here in the splits. So far in 2024, a 285 batting average for Duran. Across the board, pretty decent numbers, but the numbers actually get a lot better versus right-handed pitchers. You do see an increase in his batting average to 300. His BIBIP, 349, 271 ISO, but most importantly, a 54.3 extra base hit percentage versus right-handed pitchers this year. That's obviously a very important mark to keep in mind. And looking at Pepois, whatever you want to call him, versus left-handed batters, you do see an increase in all of his numbers. Now, they're not massive increases, but they are increases nonetheless. His ERA goes up to 382. His batting average allowed goes up to 224, which is still pretty low. But his slugging percentage at 402 and his extra base hit percentage allowed at 38.9%. So again, you see those high numbers, 54.3 for Jarren Duran, Pepiot, 38.9. So pretty solid numbers there in the head-to-head. Again, you can't really go off the sample size, just 2 plate appearances there. So not really a ton to go off of in the head-to-head department. But Duran looks like it's a pretty solid matchup. And again, for almost plus money or even odds, he's been cashing at a 48% hit rate this year. I know of the last 20 games, it's been looking a little slow for him. But overall, the data is pretty solid in terms of the matchup. All right, guys, for our third pick in today's slate, we're targeting the Tigers-Royals game, 7:40 p.m. first pitch. We're going Robbie Grossman of the Royals under half a base. This is a plus money play, plus 125 on Bet365, plus 120 on DraftKings, and plus 103 on Underdog. And Mr. Grossman has cashed us in 7 of his last 10 games, just averaging 0.3 total bases per game. Even if you go ahead and stretch the data to his last 20 games, is not fantastic for him, good for us, obviously. 70% hit rate on the under over his last 20 games, 14 of his last 20, with an average of 0.35 total bases per game. So far in 2024, whoops, a daisy there, 57% hit rate on the under overall this season. 46 out of 81 games this year he's cashed the under with an average of 0.74 total bases per game. So overall, he's been cashing this all year long, and the head-to-head data is fantastic. Each of his last 7 matchups with the Detroit Tigers dating back to last season, he's cashed the under, including all 3 times he's faced off with Detroit this year. So really solid data across the board, guys. The insights provided by Outlier. Robbie Grossman has failed to exceed half a base in 6 of his last 7 games. It's an average of 0.1 bases per game average. He's just not getting a lot of hits here. And he's got a really tough matchup here versus Tariq Skubal, one of the better pitchers in Major League Baseball right now. I just clicked something. Hopefully he doesn't do anything bad. And the head-to-head department is a pretty small sample size. Robbie Grossman versus Tariq Skubal. Just 3 plate appearances in 2018, but 0 hits for Grossman off of Skubal. Grossman's batting 223 this year versus left-handed pitchers, though. He is batting 265 with a 324 BA BIP, 143 ISO, 30.8% extra base hit percentage. Those are all obviously increases from his overall numbers, and that 265 batting average mark, a little concerning there, but overall, you see this season numbers have not been fantastic, although, again, you do see an increase there. But overall, it's just a really good matchup, I think, for Therese Skubal. Overall this year, he's got a 250 ERA, 206 batting average allowed, 322 slugging, and 31.4% extra base hit percentage. Now, he is a switch hitter, Robbie Grossman, but versus right-handed batters, 174 ERA, 185 batting average allowed, 250 slugging, and 20% extra base hit percentage. So really good numbers there across the board for Therese Skubal. But even, again, being a switch hitter, even if he's hitting lefty or righty, either way, Therese Skubal is one of the best pitchers in the American League and in all of baseball right now. This thing is a very bad matchup for him. And again, considering the fact that Robbie Grossman's been cashing this all year long, he's been cashing it at a 70% clip over the last 20 games, 70% over the last 10 games. I think it's a really solid spot. For plus money, I'll absolutely roll the dice on this one. All right, guys, and our fourth and final prop from today's slate, we're starting the Yankees-Mariners game, 9:40 p.m. first pitch. We're on Giancarlo Stanton, under 1.5 hits, runs, RBIs. Available -135 BetMGM, -140 on DraftKings. Again, the dad's really solid. 9 of his last 10 games, he's cashed the under here. He actually had cashed in 9 straight before cashing the over in his last game versus the Red Sox on September 15th. Even over the last 20 games, it's pretty solid. 60% hit rate. 12 of his last 20 games, he's cashed the under. And actually, he was actually on a pretty good run there prior to this little 9-game cold streak. But overall this year, a 51% hit rate on the under. So he's been cashing this under the majority of the time. 51% hit rate, 54 out of 105 games this year. He's cashed the under with an average of 1.89 hits, runs, RBIs per game. And the head-to-head data is solid as well. 5 of his last 6 meetings versus the Seattle Mariners, he has cashed the under. An 83% hit rate with an average of 0.67 hits, runs, RBIs per game. So far this year, he's played them 4 times. He's cashed the under in 3 out of 4 games. It's a 75% hit rate. Again, the insights provided by Outlier. Giancarlo Stanton has failed to exceed 1.5 hits, runs, RBIs in 9 of his last 10 games, an average of 0.6 hits, runs, RBIs per game. We already said that, but just to reiterate so you guys understand that how this trend has been looking lately. And look at the matchup versus Bryce Miller. Now, again, a small sample size, just 3 plate appearances versus Bryce Miller since 2018. He has not gotten a hit, though, so that is something, but again, it's too small of a sample size to really get anything off of here. Giancarlo's batting 233 overall this year. His number does slightly increase versus right-handed pitchers, but still 237, 233 is basically the same number there for Giancarlo Stanton. But this is all about the matchup here, and Bryce Miller has a really solid matchup here. Versus right-handed batters, you see all of his numbers go down, which obviously are very good for us here. 272 ERA, 199 batting average allowed, 0.7 home runs per 9, and 233 OBA. Across the board, really solid numbers. Bryce Miller's having a really good year overall, but versus right-handed batters, his numbers get even better. I didn't think that was really possible, but there it is. It's -135, -140 for a reason. The higher odds, a little more juice in this because the data is really solid across the board, really solid matchup. So I love this for the fourth and final prop of today's slate. All right, guys, so that's all 4 picks in today's slate. Quick little recap here. We have Jarren Duran over 1.5 bases, Otto Lopez over half a strikeout, Robbie Grossman under a half a base, and Giancarlo Stanton under 1.5 hits, runs, RBIs. The link for this will be down below in the description as well as the pinned comment to go ahead and follow along with today's picks. So, guys, that is it for me today. Thank you very much for watching. One more time, guys, please make sure to hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, and drop a comment down below. I will be back tomorrow with another MLB Player Prop video, but until then, guys, I hope you're all winners. Have a fantastic Wednesday.